Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning to everyone online with us this morning. I'm Fina Nurhiza binti Baruzaman, Chairman of Alam Maritim Resources Berhad. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, it is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the 16th Annual General Meeting of Alam Maritim Resources Berhad. Before we commence with the proper order of the meeting, I would like to invite Ustaz Arif Arham to recite the doa.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Arrahmanir rahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله وصحبه حق قدره ومقداره العظيم في كل لمحة ونفس عدد ما وسعه علم الله. Ya Allah, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, kami merafakkan setinggi-tinggi rasa kesyukuran kepadamu kerana dengan limpah dan kurniaan-Mu, Engkau telah mengizinkan kami untuk berkumpul dan menghadiri majlis mesyuarat agung tahunan yang ke-16 ini. Ya Allah, Tuhan sebaik-baik pentadbir, kami memohon keberkatan yang berterusan dalam setiap perancangan-Mu dan seterusnya mengambil keputusan yang diredai oleh-Mu sebagai panduan dalam mentadbir urusan syarikat kami, syarikat Alam Maritim Resources Berhad yang tercinta ini dengan kemas dan teratur. Kami sedar dan kami sedia maklum bahawasanya usaha dan ikhtiar kami terbatas hanya sebagai manusia biasa. Kami percaya Engkau Tuhan yang mentadbir seluruh urusan kehidupan kami. Justru itu, kami mohon kepadamu agar segala apa yang kami telah rancangkan akan berjalan seiring dengan qada dan qadarmu, yang pastinya Engkau maha mengetahui yang terbaik bagi kami. Semoga segala nikmat yang telah dikurniakan kepada kami selama ini, kami berjaya manfaatkannya, meningkatkan dan memantapkan ekonomi syarikat kami. Ya Allah, kurniakanlah kepada kami rezeki yang halal lagi berkat, zuriat dan generasi yang beriman, serta segala kebaikan di dunia dan juga kebaikan di akhirat kelak. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hadha jam'an marhuma, wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma. Wa la taj'alillahumma fina wa la ma'ana, wa la man yatba'una syaqiyan wa la matrudan wa la mahruma. Allahumma ighfir lana dhunubana wa li ikhwanina alladhina sabaquna bil iman. ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا إنك رؤوف رحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين تقبل الله منكم.
Thank you, Ustaz Arif. Ladies and gentlemen, in view of the latest movement control order and as part of the safety measures to safeguard the well-being of the members and employees of the company amid this COVID-19 pandemic, this 16th AGM today will be conducted fully virtual, and the shareholders shall participate in the 16th AGM remotely via the remote participation and voting facilities (RPV), which are available on the website of Tricor Investor and Issuing House Services in Berhad. The convening of this virtual meeting is in compliance and in accordance with Section 327, Subsection 2 of the Companies Act 2016 and of Article 80 of the Company's Constitution, where only the chairman of the meeting is present at the broadcast venue. And we do not have any shareholders shareholders are actually not allowed to be admitted to the broadcast venue, even the other directors. Ladies and gentlemen, as this meeting is conducted fully virtual as a contingency, should my internet connection become unstable and I'm disconnected from this AGM, our Group Managing Director, Datuk Azmi bin Ahmad, will take over the chair of the meeting. So without further ado, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the board members and management who are with us joining the meeting virtually today from their respective devices, and would appreciate if the respective board members could wave at the camera when your name is called. Firstly, I would like to introduce Datuk Azmi bin Ahmad, our Group Managing Director, Group Chief Executive Officer. Thank you. Encik Syamsul bin Saad, our Deputy Chief Executive Officer, our new Deputy Chief Executive Officer. Datuk Haji Abdul Wahab bin Haji Ibrahim, our Independent Non-Executive Director. Encik Ahmad Ruhaizat bin Hashim, our new Independent Non-Executive Director. And Encik Ahmad Hasanuddin bin Ahmad Kamaluddin, our Non-Independent Executive Director. Also with us this morning is our Group Chief Financial Officer, our CFO, Encik Muhammad Nasir bin Noor. And Puan Nur Aznita Taib, the Company Secretary. And our external auditors, Mrs. Al-Jifri Salihin Huzaimi, Cik Aizul Izwan. Cik Aizul? Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now proceed with the meeting. I would like, before we proceed, I would like to call upon the Company Secretary to confirm the quorum to convene this AGM.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Pursuant to Article 78 of the Company's Constitution, 2 members present in person or by proxy or by attorney shall be a quorum for a general meeting for all purposes. I am pleased to confirm the presence of the requisite quorum as at the commencement of the meeting. Based on the Share Registrar's data report, the total number of persons participate in RPV of this AGM as at 10 a.m. is 51.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The Company Secretary has confirmed the presence of the requisite quorum. I hereby call this meeting to order. Ladies and gentlemen, the notice of the 16th AGM was announced to Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad on the 28th of May 2021 and advertised in the Star on 31st of May. The notice of the 16th AGM is also incorporated in pages 193 to 198 of the 2020 annual report. The said notice was circulated as per required notice of period. We trust that the said notice are well read. With your permission, I shall declare that the notice of the meeting has been taken as read and we shall proceed with the business at hand. With that, I hereby declare that this 16th AGM is duly convened. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed with the agenda of the meeting, we would like to show you our financial highlights and the company's performance for 2020 through a video.
Good morning to all esteemed shareholders and a very warm welcome to our 16th annual general meeting. We have prepared a brief presentation on the financial performance of Maritim Group for the financial year ended 31st December 2020. Apart from the financial overview describing key financial results for the recently concluded financial year, we will also be sharing the market outlook for the oil and gas industry going forward. These are the key numbers for our financial performance for last year. Revenue was recorded lower than the previous year, with an adverse variance of 16.8% due mainly to lower revenue derived from both OSV and OIC and subsea business segments. The group recorded a net loss for the year of RM 119.8 million on the back of market volatility in the oil and gas sector amid COVID-19 pandemic across the globe. The average vessel utilization rate of owned vessel dropped from 40% to 26% for the financial year under review. The group's total order book stood at 0.5 billion ringgit as at 31st December 2020, which will provide earnings visibility over the next 1 to 2 years. Daily charter rates were generally depressed, ranging from USD 0.7 to USD 1.0 per brake horsepower. Our debt to equity ratio has increased slightly to 0.45 times due to reduction in the total equity as a result of losses incurred during the financial year. This is graphical illustration highlighting financial performance of the group in terms of revenue and profit or loss before taxation for financial year 2020 with comparative figures for the past 4 years. Maritim Group reported a drop in revenue arising from depressed daily charter rate and lower vessel utilization rate for OSV segment. The other contributing factor is a decline in revenue derived from OIC and subsea segment during the financial year under review. The financial results showing higher loss before taxation year on year have been adversely impacted by the contraction in operating margin affecting OSV segment and losses recognized for OIC project. In addition, the issue of impairment on vessels and interest in joint ventures was still to be dealt with last year, causing a further decline in our financial performance. The financial year 2020 saw a trend of superior revenue contribution of 73% from OIC and subsea segment as compared to 27% derived from OSV segment. The growth of OIC and subsea segment is expected to continue growing forward in line with the group's aspiration to become an integrated service provider. The aging fleet, coupled with number of vessels needing to undergo dry docking exercise, had pushed the OSV segment to underperform with an average vessel utilization rate of 26% against 40% for the preceding financial year. In addition, the OSV segment was also adversely affected by the lower daily charter rates as a result of softening demand for offshore support vessels in Malaysia. Continuous efforts are required to realign our business strategies to boost our competitive edge, which in turn will help to increase our market share in both OIC and subsea segment as well as OSV segment. Against the backdrop of weak OSV market and COVID-19 pandemic, assessment for impairment in value was carried out last year for vessels with utilization rate falling below 50%. The group's share of adverse impact of impairment was about 70.1 million ringgit for all vessels in our fleet, whilst recording a direct impairment loss of 39.3 million ringgit for wholly owned vessels. The group's financial performance was also hit by impairment on interest in joint ventures to the tune of 14.6 million ringgit. We managed to maintain the group's debt to equity ratio at a very comfortable level of 0.45 times as at 31st December 2020. Despite the low gearing level, the credit crunch during this financial crisis experienced by most players within the oil and gas industry has impeded potential recovery and our ability to undertake sizable projects due to cash flow limitations. Several initiatives to address the issue has been carried out during the financial year ended 31st December 2020, which include the issuance of redeemable convertible notes and private placement exercise with the objective of improving cash flow position and reducing gearing ratio. On market outlook, The imposition of Movement Control Order or MCO 2.0 in January and MCO 3.0 in June this year has dampened economic and industry recovery. However, intensified effort by the Malaysian government to curb the pandemic has been realized with the introduction of the first phase of COVID-19 vaccine to the frontliners in Q1 2021. The rollout of vaccination program throughout the nation, the various government stimulus measures and other facilitating factors have restored the measure of confidence to both consumer and investor sentiments. Economic growth in financial year 2021 is expected to revert to a positive trajectory with an early estimates indicating GDP growth of 5.5% to even up to 8.0% being a possibility. There is rising demand of oil and gas commodities. In February 2021, Brent closed in on $60 per barrel for the first time since January 2020. With a combination of crude inventories declining in both China and US, as well as OPEC's supply cuts and quota discipline, the oil market has started to tighten as demand for oil production starts to rise. Market watchers have been optimistic about oil prices returning to pre-pandemic levels in 2021, circa $65 per barrel, barring any other black swan events or unforeseen circumstances. The Petronas activity outlook for years 2021 to 2023, as announced in December 2020, indicates a steady outlook for production, support, drilling, fabrication and installation of wellhead platforms and subsea facilities, as well as decommissioning facilities. Similarly, the group foresee a positive outlook for the Malaysian oil and gas sector, where more upstream activities are expected going forward. With that, we hope the demand for OSV will be positively impacted, driving increased vessel utilization and daily charter rates. Thank you for your attention. Stay safe, and we hope to see all of you again next year.
Thank you. So we hope that the presentation has provided some insights on the group's performance and the outlook. Ladies and gentlemen, next, I would like to state the procedure to be followed in tabling and putting the resolutions at this meeting as per the administrative guide details for the shareholders on the conduct of a fully virtual meeting. We'd like to inform that to ensure the smooth running of the meeting, questions raised by shareholders shall be attended to during the question and answer session, which will be conducted before the e-polling. Next, pursuant to paragraph 8.29A of the main market listing requirements, Alam, being a listed issuer, must ensure all resolutions set out in the notice of the 16th AGM will be put to a vote by way of RPV. As mentioned, there are 12 resolutions on the agenda for this meeting. The voting process will be conducted upon the completion of all deliberations of all the 12 resolutions. In this regard, I will exercise my right as the chairperson of the meeting to demand polling in accordance with Clause 84 of the company's constitution. The board is pleased to inform that Tricor Investor and Issuing House Services in Berhad, Tricor, the company's share registrar, has been appointed as the poll administrator to conduct the polling process, and Scrutineer Solutions in Berhad has been appointed to verify the poll results. With that, I would like to invite the representative from Tricor to explain the online voting procedures through the RPV application.
Dear shareholders and proxy holders, the steps for you to cast your vote via Tricor's remote participation and voting IERPV application are as follows. When you are on the live stream meeting page, click on the Go to Remote Voting Page button below the query box. Read and agree to the terms and conditions and confirm the declaration. Select your CDS account number and click the Vote button. Indicate your voting instructions either for or against or abstain for the resolutions that are tabled for voting and click the Next button. Review your votes casted and click on Confirm to submit. Download the document for remote voting for your record if required. To return to live stream meeting page, click on the live streaming button on the right. Alternatively, if you wish to listen to meeting proceedings while you are submitting your votes, you may click on the Corporate Exercise or Corporate Event button on the left side of the screen and open the link in New Window. Under a new window, select the corporate event for the relevant company, Remote Voting AGM or EGM. Follow the same steps as mentioned earlier on how to cast your votes remotely. Shareholders and proxy holders, kindly be informed that our voting system allows you to vote for all the resolutions at one time. Please ensure that you have completed voting on all the resolutions before you confirm the submission of your votes. Once the Chairman announces the end of the voting session, the system will not allow you to submit your votes. Therefore, please ensure you submit your votes timely before the voting session ends. If you have any questions to raise to the Board of Directors, please submit your questions in the query box, which is available on live stream meeting. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Tariko. So the first item on the agenda number 1, ladies and gentlemen, is to receive the audited financial statements for the financial year ended 31st December 2020, together with the reports of the directors and auditors thereon. Ladies and gentlemen, the provision of Section 340, subsection 1A of the Companies Act 2016 does not require the audited financial statements to be formally approved by the shareholders. Therefore, the audited financial statements for the financial year ended 31st December 2020, together with the reports of the directors and auditors thereon, will not be put to a vote. Nonetheless, the shareholders are invited to raise questions and seek clarifications on the audited financial statements and reports during the Q&A session, which will be conducted before e-polling. We shall now move to agenda number 2, ordinary resolution number 1, number 2, and number 3. The first one is with regard to re-elect the following directors who retire. The agenda 2 is regard to re-elect the following directors who retire pursuant to Article 100 of the company's constitution and being eligible have offered themselves for re-election. I will deliberate on all items in our agenda. Resolution 1, 2, and 3 deal with the retirement of directors pursuant to Article 100 of the company's constitution, and the directors being eligible have offered themselves for re-election. The directors concerned are Encik Ahmad Hasanuddin bin Ahmad Kamaluddin, Encik Ahmad Ruhaizat bin Hashim, and Encik Shamsul bin Sa'ad. The first resolution number 1 under agenda 2 is to propose the re-election of Encik Ahmad Hasanuddin bin Ahmad Kamaluddin pursuant to Article 100. Encik Ahmad Hasanuddin bin Ahmad Kamaluddin is our Group Risk and QHSSE Director and our Executive Director of the company, and he has offered himself for re-election. His profile can be referred to on page 36 of our annual report. We shall now move to ordinary resolution number 2, which is to propose the re-election of Encik Ahmad Ruhaizat bin Hashim pursuant to Article 100. Encik Ahmad Ruhaizat bin Hashim is an independent non-executive director. He joined us, or he was appointed on the 16th of November 2020. His profile could be referred to on page 38 in our annual report. Next is ordinary resolution number 3, which is to propose the re-election of Encik Shamsul bin Saad pursuant to Article 100. Encik Shamsul bin Saad was appointed on the 2nd of March 2021 as Alam's new Deputy Chief Executive Officer, and he is also an Executive Director of the company. His profile can be referred to on page 37 in our annual report. We shall now move to Agenda 3, which is ordinary resolution number 4, which is to approve payments of the directors' fees and remuneration to the non-executive directors amounting to 357,477 ringgit Malaysia for the financial year ended 31st December 2020. Next is Agenda 4, ordinary resolution number 5, which is to approve the payment of directors' fees and remuneration based on the remuneration structure as disclosed in explanatory note number 3 or Roman 3 for the period from 1st January 2021 until the next annual general meeting of the company to be held in 2022. The explanatory note Roman 3 is on page 196. We shall move on to the next agenda item, which is Agenda 5, Resolution number 6, which is to reappoint Mrs. Al-Jafri Salihin Kuzaimi PLT as auditors of the company until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting and to authorize the directors to determine their remuneration. This is ordinary resolution 6. We shall now move to Agenda 6. Ladies and gentlemen, the following resolution are deemed as special business. And since I am an interested party in the matter, I will pass or hand over the chair to Dato' Azmi.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Agenda number 6, Resolution 7 and 8. The 6th agenda, Resolution 7 and 8, refer to the proposed continuation in office of the following directors and independent non-executive director in accordance with the Malaysian Code of Corporate Governance 2017 as follows. 1. Datuk Haji Abdul Wahab bin Haji Ibrahim. Number 2 is Puan Fina Nuhiza binti Haji Bahru Zaman. The MCCG 2017 states that the board must justify and seek shareholders' approval in the event it retains as an independent director a person who has served in that capacity for more than 9 years. Datuk Haji Abdul Wahab and Puan Fina has served the company for a cumulative period of 9 years with effect from 2nd of May 2006 and 21st October 2010 respectively. The Board Nomination and Remuneration Committee, BNRC, and the board have assessed the independence of both of them who have served the company for a cumulative term of more than 9 years and recommend for them to be retained as independent non-executive directors based on the following justification. A. The continuity of service and commitment has afforded them in-depth knowledge of the company, which are invaluable to the board. B. Being an independent director for a cumulative term of more than 9 years, they have acted in the best interest of the company in providing independent views to the deliberation and decision-making of the board and its committee. Both of them continues to demonstrate excellent stewardship, whereby Datuk Abdul Wahab as chairman of Board Audit Committee and serve as member of the Board Risk Management Committee and BNRC, while Puan Fina as chairman of the board and BNRC and serve as member of BRMC and BAC. Therefore, we would like to propose that, subject to the passing of the Resolution 7 and 8, approval be and are hereby given to retain Datuk Abdul Wahab and Puan Fina, who has served as independent non-executive director of the company for a cumulative term of more than 9 years, be and are hereby authorized to continue to act as independent non-executive directors and to hold office until the conclusion of the next AGM of the company. Dr. Wahab and Puan Pina profile are set out on pages 35 and 33 respectively of the annual report 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, since this resolution involves Dr. Wahab and Puan Pina, they will abstain from voting in respect of resolution 7 and 8. They have also undertaken to ensure that persons connected to them will abstain from voting on this resolution too. I hereby pass the chair to Puan Pina as the chairperson of the meeting. We shall now move to agenda number 7, ordinary resolution 9. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato'. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now on agenda 7, resolution number 9, which is on the authority to issue shares pursuant to section 75 and 76 of the Companies Act 2016. This agenda, if approved, shall empower the directors to issue and allot new ordinary shares up to an amount not exceeding 10% of the company's issued share capital at any time until the conclusion of the next AGM for the company. This is for the company to raise funds and to exercise any options under the company's ESOS. We shall now move to agenda 8, ordinary resolution number 10, which is on the proposed renewal of authority for the company to purchase its own shares of up to 10% of the issued and paid up share capital of the company. This agenda is the proposed renewal of authority for the company to purchase its own shares, of which the details of the proposal have been circulated in the statement to the shareholders dated 31st May 2020 at Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad's announcement and the company's website. We shall now move on to agenda 9, special resolution number 1, which is on the proposed allocation of the new employees share option scheme, new ESOS options to Encik Syamsul bin Saad. This resolution is related to the approval to grant Encik Syamsul bin Saad, being the executive director of the company, the new ESOS options to subscribe, which is to subscribe new AMRB shares under the proposed new ESOS. The next agenda is agenda number 10, special resolution number 2, which is the proposed allocation of the new employees share option scheme, new ESOS options to Encik Ahmad Ruhaizat bin Hashim. This agenda is related to the approval to grant Encik Ahmad Ruhaizat bin Hashim, being the independent non-executive director of the company, new ESOS options to subscribe new AMRB shares under the proposed new ESOS. We shall now proceed to the next agenda, which is any other business. The last item on the agenda which is the last item on the agenda for this AGM. This last agenda is to transact any other business on which due notice shall have been given in accordance with the Companies Act 2016 and the company's constitution. I would like to call upon the company secretary to confirm whether the company has received any notice pertaining to any other business mentioned earlier.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I hereby confirm that the company did not receive any notice to discuss any other matter.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next, as mentioned earlier, we have now come to the question and answer session where we will respond to the questions raised by shareholders. I shall read the question and the reply. We have received one question from Encik Safwan bin Johari. Good morning. I would like to know on the progress status for unutilized vessels. Our reply, moving forward, the group shall continue to transform its business with an asset-light strategy in mind. In line with this approach, the group has sought to dispose various aging vessels and surplus underutilized vessels that have little probability of securing or servicing contracts. The second question from Encik Safwan bin Johari. Is there any plan for short-term loan conversion to long-term loan? Our reply, at this juncture, we do not have any plan to convert our short-term loan to long-term loan. In respect of our long-term loan, we are committed to ensure that only a level of debt that can be sustained by the group's cash flow, which have the highest probability of materializing going forward, is preserved. Taking this into consideration, the group is in the midst of formulating a restructuring scheme on its borrowings, whereby the group has submitted an application for assistance from the Corporate Debt Restructuring Committee of Bank Negara, CDRC, to mediate between the group, certain of its subsidiaries, joint venture companies and associated companies, and their respective financiers. There is a request here of the printed hard copy of the company's annual report. There's a request from a shareholder. There's a question above, but I can't see the question. But can you just scroll down the screen a bit? Anyway, there's a request that for the printed hard copy of the company's annual report. I think the shareholder wants to know about how, sorry? I can't see the question. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, there's a slide. I can't see. Sorry. Okay, the question, yes, thank you very much. The question is, how much does the company spend on the virtual AGM? Would the board kindly consider giving e-wallet as a token of appreciation for attending today's RPV? Thank you. I would like to request a printed hard copy of the company annual report. So that's the question by the shareholder. No name given. Our reply, we spent approximately 20,000 for this virtual AGM. The company wishes to record our appreciation to the shareholders for attending the AGM virtually. However, the company does not provide, or we are not able to provide any e-voucher in view of the company's current position. We are not spared of the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic as similar to other companies in Malaysia and also in the world for that matter. So we hope, we have been giving door gifts in the past when we were in a better position, and inshallah pray for us so that we can be in that position again, so that we can see you physically and provide door gifts and e-vouchers in future, inshallah. Anyway, we wish to inform that as part of our dedicated commitment to sustainable practices on Go Digital and paperless, we will not provide the hard copy for annual report 2020. Shareholders can now switch to e-documents rather than receiving them by post. Even better, you can access the annual report 2020 online at any time and reduce paper waste. The annual report 2021 can be downloaded from our website. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I think that's all the questions that we have received today from the shareholders. If there are no other questions, then I would like to move on to the next item, which is on the voting of the resolutions. Yeah. So I shall now put all the 12 resolutions to a vote by poll. You may proceed to vote via online remote voting now if you have not done so. The voting session will be closed in 5 minutes. Should you encounter any problems, kindly contact Tricor support line immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, the online voting session is now closed. Thank you for voting. Your votes will now be counted by the poll administrator and verified by the scrutineer. As it will take some time to tabulate the results of the resolutions, the outcome of today's poll will be announced later. But before I adjourn this meeting in the interim, I'd like to mention that we have received other questions, but we were not able to respond because of the time constraint. However, we will arrange for our management to respond to the respective shareholders directly. Thank you. So anyway, I propose that this, for the purpose of the tabulation of the counting of the votes, I propose that the meeting be adjourned for 20 minutes. Thank you.
When did you get back from Beijing? I gotta know. Ooh, Molly, are you stuck in nostalgia like me? I wanna know. Darling, am I done? Feel like I've been holding on too long. Ooh, Molly, are you stuck in nostalgia like me?
Assalamualaikum. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to now call the meeting to order for the declaration of the results of the poll. The scrutineer has confirmed and handed over to me the poll results, which are now shown on your screen. Yes. Based on these results, I shall declare that all resolutions that are tabled at today's meeting are carried. So, ladies and gentlemen, that therefore concludes the 16th annual general meeting of the company today. I would like to thank the shareholders for taking their time to participate in today's annual general meeting. I would like to thank Tricor and also the Scrutineer Solutions for their assistance, and also to our technical crew that has handled the live streaming smoothly. And I would like to also thank you all for your support, and to also ask you all to pray for the success of the company in future. And with that, I would like to wish you all to request that you all stay safe, stay at home, get your vaccine, kita jaga kita, as there are no other business on the table at the moment. So I now call the meeting to close. I shall declare the meeting closed. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.